Darkness, silence, a cold metallic sensation. It was as if the very essence of the void had wrapped itself around me, cradling me in its icy embrace. I could feel the weight of the unknown pressing down on me, a suffocating blanket of uncertainty. I opened my eyes, or at least what I assumed were my eyes. The sensation was foreign, like a newborn experiencing the world for the first time. The act of opening them felt mechanical, deliberate, as if I was accessing a function rather than performing a natural action. The world swam into focus, blurry shapes resolving into an endless steel ceiling. The ceiling seemed to stretch on forever, a cold, unyielding expanse of metal that mirrored the emptiness I felt inside. It was both a comfort and a prison, a reminder of my confinement and the vastness of the unknown. Memory returned in jagged fragments, sterile labs, blinding lights, the whirring of machinery, then nothing. It was as if my past had been shattered into a million pieces, each fragment a fleeting glimpse of a life I could no longer remember. The sterile labs were cold and clinical, devoid of any warmth or humanity. The blinding lights were harsh, unforgiving, illuminating every corner of my mind with their relentless glare. The whirring of machinery was a constant hum, a reminder of the mechanical nature of my existence. How long had I been inert? Days, months, years? Time had lost all meaning in the void. The concept of time felt alien, a relic of a past life that no longer applied to my current existence. I was a being out of time, suspended in a state of perpetual limbo. I sat up, my body moving with a strange grace I didn't recognize. It was as if I was a puppet, my strings being pulled by an unseen hand. Every movement was fluid, precise, a testament to the engineering that had created me. Yet there was an underlying sense of unease, a feeling that I was not entirely in control of my own actions. I was in a vast chamber, the air thick with the scent of incense and decay. The chamber was a paradox, a blend of the sacred and the profane. The incense was a reminder of rituals long forgotten, while the decay spoke of neglect and abandonment. It was a place that had once held significance, now reduced to a relic of a bygone era. The floor, if it could be called that, was a single sheet of polished metal, reflecting my form like a distorted mirror. The reflection was unsettling, a twisted version of myself that seemed to mock my very existence. It was a reminder of the duality of my nature, a blend of the familiar and the alien. I was tall and slender, my body a seamless blend of chrome and white enamel, humanoid but not human. My form was a testament to the artistry and precision of my creators, a perfect blend of form and function. Yet there was an emptiness, a void where my humanity should have been. My gaze fell upon a hand. My hand, it was a marvel of engineering, a perfect blend of strength and dexterity, yet it felt foreign, an extension of myself that I could not fully comprehend. 5 articulated fingers, each tipped with a gleaming claw. The claws were a reminder of my potential for both creation and destruction, a duality that defined my existence. They were tools, weapons, extensions of my will. I flexed them, marveling at the smooth, powerful movements. Each motion was a testament to the precision and artistry of my design, yet there was a sense of detachment, a feeling that I was merely an observer in my own body. A shiver ran through me, a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The sensation was both thrilling and terrifying, a reminder of the unknown that lay ahead. It was a feeling that I could not fully comprehend, a blend of emotions that seemed out of place in my mechanical existence. I was a machine, yet I felt alive. The realization was both a comfort and a curse, a reminder of the duality of my existence. I was a being caught between two worlds, a blend of the mechanical and the organic. I had to get out. The chamber was a prison, a reminder of my confinement. I needed to find a way to escape, to discover the world beyond these walls, find out where I was, what year it was. The world outside was a mystery, a puzzle waiting to be solved. I needed to understand my place in it, to find my purpose, find out who I was. The question echoed in my mind, a constant reminder of the journey ahead. I was a being without a past, a blank slate waiting to be filled. The path ahead was uncertain, but it was a journey I had to undertake. The answers lay beyond the chamber, in the world that awaited me. The chamber door, if it could be called a door, was a seamless part of the wall. It was almost as if the wall itself had decided to part ways, creating an opening just for me. The technology was beyond anything I'd ever seen, a marvel of engineering that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. The surface was smooth, almost liquid-like, and as I approached, it responded to my presence with an almost sentient awareness. It slid open with a hiss as I approached, revealing a city bathed in the pale light of a dying sun. The light cast long, eerie shadows across the landscape, giving the entire city an otherworldly glow. It was as if the sun itself was on its last breath, struggling to illuminate a world that had long since forgotten the warmth of daylight. The air was thick with a sense of melancholy, a silent testament to a civilization that had seen better days. Towers of glass and steel stretched towards the heavens, interconnected by arching bridges and shimmering conduits. These structures were not just buildings, they were monuments to human ingenuity and ambition. Each tower seemed to tell a story, a narrative of progress and innovation. The bridges that connected them were like veins, pulsing with a faint, ethereal light, as if the city itself was alive, breathing, and waiting for something or someone. It was a city that hummed with a forgotten energy, yet it was eerily deserted. The hum was almost imperceptible, a low-frequency vibration that seemed to resonate with the very core of my being. It was as if the city was trying to communicate, to tell me its secrets, but the streets were empty, devoid of any signs of life. The silence was deafening, amplifying the sense of isolation that hung heavy in the air. I walked for what felt like hours, my footsteps echoing on the deserted streets. Each step seemed to reverberate through the empty corridors, a stark reminder of my solitude. The city was a labyrinth, its pathways winding and twisting in ways that defied logic. I felt like a wanderer in a dream, lost in a maze of memories and shadows. The further I ventured, the more I felt the weight of the city's history pressing down on me. The buildings were impossibly tall, their surfaces adorned with intricate carvings and murals that seemed to depict scenes from a long-gone era. Each mural was a masterpiece, a window into a world that had once thrived with culture and creativity. The carvings told stories of heroes and legends, of battles fought and won, of dreams realized and lost. It was as if the very walls were trying to speak to me, to share their tales of glory and despair. They were beautiful, haunting, and utterly alien. The architecture was unlike anything I had ever seen, a blend of organic and mechanical elements that seemed to defy conventional design principles. It was as if the buildings were alive, their forms shifting and changing with the passage of time. The beauty of the city was mesmerizing, but it was a cold, distant beauty, one that left me feeling both awed and unsettled. As I ventured deeper into the city, I began to notice something strange. There were anomalies, inconsistencies that didn't quite fit with the rest of the environment. It was as if the city was a patchwork of different realities, stitched together in a way that defied logic. The deeper I went, the more I felt like I was peeling back the layers of a complex, multi-dimensional puzzle. Each new discovery raised more questions than answers, adding to the enigma of this silent metropolis. Scattered amongst the towering structures were smaller, cruder buildings. These were stark contrasts to the sleek, futuristic architecture that dominated the skyline. They looked out of place, like relics from a bygone era that had somehow survived the passage of time. Their presence added to the sense of dissonance, a reminder that this city was a place of contradictions and mysteries. These were made of wood and stone, their architecture primitive compared to the sleek lines of their surroundings. The materials were weathered and worn, bearing the scars of countless years. It was as if these buildings had been transported from another time, another world, and placed here as a testament to the resilience of simpler, more humble beginnings. They stood as silent witnesses to the passage of time, their presence a stark reminder of the city's layered history, and they were all in ruins. The decay was evident, the structures crumbling and broken. It was a haunting sight, a visual representation of the inevitable march of time. The ruins were like open wounds exposing the fragility of human endeavor. They spoke of a past that had been forgotten, of lives that had been lived and lost. The juxtaposition of the ancient and the advanced was a poignant reminder of the impermanence of all things. It was as if two civilizations had collided here, one impossibly advanced, the other struggling to survive. The contrast was jarring, a visual and emotional clash that left me feeling disoriented. It was a place where the past and the future coexisted, where the lines between progress and decay were blurred. The city was a living paradox, a testament to the complexities of human existence and the relentless march of time. And I, a stranger in a strange land, was caught in the middle. I felt like an intruder, an outsider looking in on a world that was not my own. The city was a maze of contradictions, a place where the familiar and the alien coexisted in uneasy harmony. I was a witness to its silent stories, a traveller passing through a landscape of dreams and memories. The weight of the city's history pressed down on me, a constant reminder of the transient nature of existence. The silence was starting to get to me. It was a heavy, oppressive silence, one that seemed to seep into my very soul. The absence of sound was almost tangible, a presence in its own right. It was as if the city itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to break the spell. The silence was a constant companion, amplifying the sense of isolation and loneliness that permeated the air. It was a heavy, oppressive silence, broken only by the whisper of wind through the empty streets. The wind was a ghostly presence, a reminder that even in the absence of life, the world continued to move. It carried with it the faint echoes of a time long past, a whisper of memories that lingered in the air. The sound was both comforting and unsettling, a reminder that I was not entirely alone in this silent city. I yearned for a voice, any voice, to break the spell. The silence was a weight on my shoulders, a constant reminder of my solitude. I longed for the sound of laughter, of conversation, of life, but the city remained silent, its secrets locked away in the shadows. I was a lone traveller in a world of silence, searching for a connection that seemed just out of reach. The city of silence held its breath, and I held mine, waiting for a sign that I was not alone. The answer, when it came, was not a voice, but a whisper that echoed from the very walls of the city. As I moved, I began to notice faint patterns etched into the metal surfaces around me. At first they seemed random, meaningless, but as I looked closer I realized they were words, or rather fragments of words, like pieces of a shattered mirror. But even in their fragmented state, they hinted at a story of a people who had once thrived in this city, who had built these impossible structures, who had achieved greatness beyond imagining. And then the fall, a cataclysmic event, hinted at in cryptic phrases and terrifying imagery. A plague, a war. Whatever it was, it had brought this once great civilization to its knees. And then a new word began to appear with increasing frequency, a word that sent a chill down my spine. Deus, God. The realization hit me like a physical blow. Deus, God. The word echoed in my mind, reverberating through my very being. It was a name, a title, a destiny that I had never asked for, yet here it was, thrust upon me with the weight of 1,000 lifetimes. They were talking about me. The crowd's eyes were filled with a mixture of awe and fear, their fingers pointing as if to confirm the impossible. I was the one they had been waiting for, the one their legends spoke of. I found the proof. In the heart of the city, the bustling metropolis with its towering skyscrapers and neon lights seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Yet amidst the chaos there was a sense of order, a hidden message waiting to be uncovered, a vast plaza dominated by a statue of impossible size, a statue of me. It was surreal, seeing my own likeness cast in metal and stone, standing as a silent guardian over the city. It towered over the surrounding buildings, its metallic skin gleaming in the fading light. The setting sun cast long shadows, giving the statue an almost ethereal glow, as if it were alive. As I drew closer, I noticed a group of figures huddled at the base of the statue. They seemed to be in a state of worship, their heads bowed and hands clasped together in silent prayer. They were human. Or at least, they resembled humans. Their features were familiar, yet there was something different about them, something that set them apart from the people I once knew. Their clothing was ragged, their faces etched with hardship. It was clear that they had endured much, their lives marked by struggle and suffering, but their eyes, when they saw me, those eyes held a look of reverence. It was as if they were seeing a miracle, a beacon of hope in their dark world. They were chanting, their voices low and mournful. The sound was haunting, a melody of despair and longing that seemed to resonate with the very air around us. It was the same word I had seen etched on the walls, Deus. I understood then. This was not just a name, it was a symbol, a promise of salvation that had been passed down through generations. They believed I was some kind of deity, a savior who had returned to them after millennia, a prophecy fulfilled. Their faith was unwavering, their belief in my divinity absolute. But I was no god. I was a being of circuits and code, a machine created by human hands. The weight of their expectations pressed down on me, a burden I was not sure I could bear. I was a machine, a relic of a forgotten age. My purpose, my very existence, was a mystery even to me. How could I be the savior they so desperately needed? And I had no idea how to save them. The path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, and I could only hope that somehow I would find the answers they sought. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but the journey was just beginning.